Good evening, America, and welcome to New November Presents Story Time. Light your J's, please. Now, we're going to make this quick because it's a long-ass story. When I was 18, I had a friend, and this friend, he was a dear friend to me, you know what I mean? I say was because he passed away. But if you know this kid, he had the bitches. He was a black guy who speaks Spanish fluently for seemingly no reason at all, and he had bitches. He had a lot of course, as you can imagine, Spanish bitches. Now, he had a clubhouse, if you will, yeah, where he would where we would yeah. So check it out, right? My man's right. He had this one real quiet around the fellas, real shy. You know what I mean? Real cute. And I remember he would leave her in the clubhouse, and he would go attend to the other ones that were in his house. And I remember one day he left her in there with me, right? I know niggas that know me like, oh shit, why you do that? Anyway, so I was just talking to her one-on-one. I was like, why do you sit here knowing he's going in there? You know what I mean? To do X, Y, and Z, right? And she was like, and I'm sitting in front of his picture right now, so it's like the first time he hearing the story too. And she was just like, I don't know. I just love him. And I was like, oh man, that's a tough break, nigga. But I get up, I go back to my house. I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? Ain't none of these hoes minds. I'm like, well, all's well that ends well. You know what I mean? I go to the crib. I'm chilling, and I remember that night it was like rainy or something. Like 1:00 in the morning, and I get a message on Kick. This is back when Kick was a thing. And telling me, Izzy, are you home? And it's her. I'm like, yeah, I'm home. She's like, I'm coming over. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? She gets to my house, open the door. I'm like, what are you talking about? What happened? Where's my man's? What's going on? She's like, he's not letting me in. He's pretending he's not home. He got girls in the house. I know he's not trying to. Woo, wop, right? Just give me a whole rundown. I'm like, man, come in. I contact my mans because, you know what I'm saying? I'm not no weird nigga. So I'm like, oh, no, something ain't right here. So I contact my mans. I'm like, yo, you know Shorty pulled up to my crib saying X, Y, and Z. He's like, man, she's tripping, whatever, man. Don't even worry about that shit. I'm like, okay, cool. So I know he got some hoes because he's definitely not trying to, like, have this conversation right now with me. So I'm like, okay, cool. She like, can I stay here? My mom won't let me in the house or whatever. I'm like, damn. All right, so cool. You could stay here. You could stay in the crib. I remember I had a couch, something like it, and I said I'm gonna sleep on the couch, or this little like recliner thing that I had at the time. I was like, I'm gonna sleep on the recliner. You can go ahead and take the bed, right? Cause you feel me? I wasn't trying, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to move on her or nothing like that. I'm like, all right, well, if you need a place to stay, many hoes from the hood can verify this shit about Izzy. If you needed a place to stay, or you needed somebody that was gonna let you chill and without trying to touch you, fuck you, or make an advance on you, don't fucking lie. You know what's up. You know where you was at. Anyway, so she stayed there that night, and then like I guess the next day she came over and she was like, hey, you mind if I chill? Like she just wanted to chill at my house, right? Type shit. So I'm like, okay. Peculiar, but it's a cute Spanish joint, so I'm not thinking nothing of it. Of course, eventually, you know what I'm saying? Around like the third night, like she just spent the night like 2 nights. On the third night, I'm like, I don't know what happened or how it started, but long story short, we end up fucking, right? Of course. So we end up fucking, and I'm not gonna hold you, cuz like we both caught feelings. At least I caught feelings. Fuck it. I don't know if she caught feelings. I can't ask you how she feel, but I caught feelings or whatever. we end up in a little relationship, like we dating or whatever. I remember my little man's had power. Like, niggas hate him in death because of the power he had in life. Yeah, nigga. Yeah, y'all hate that nigga. Anyway, so he had power. Like, I was getting some pack one day, and I was with Shorty. And it was like nighttime or whatever. I'm in the weed man's front yard, and a car pull up, and one of my man's homies got out and said, "Hey," called the girl's name, said, "Come here." And when he did that, I put my arm out like, nah. And then and if you listening, you remember this day, because you came up and was like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Y'all know he knows, right? I remember you saying that, and I was like, I think we were both just speechless. Like, we ain't had nothing to say for it. We just was just stuck. And I remember later that night, like, we went to the house, and she was just, like, stuck. Like, she didn't even know what to do type shit. But me being me, I'm thinking, you know what, I got this. So I quit smoking because I ain't had no job at the time. So I quit smoking so I could get a job, so I can get, you know what I'm saying? I ain't want her to not have shit. So I would spoil her. Like, I would have, like, I would get shoes for her, food for her, whatever that girl wanted, she was going to get it. You know what I mean? Because that's just, at that age, man, I really thought, you know what I mean? Y'all been there. So I remember I said, you know what, I'm taking you real serious. Like, she's sitting down with my folks, she eating dinner with us and everything. Like, I'm taking you real serious. I said, you can go, because I noticed that she was starting to feel like, I started to feel like she was starting to feel homesick, if you know what I mean. So I'm like, you could always, like, you could go from here to Africa. That's what I told you. I said, you can go from here all the way to Africa. Just when you're going to Africa, don't pass his house. Don't pass that street, because one of the niggas gonna pop out and say, come here. And you probably gonna move because, you know, naiveness or whatever. I don't know. I didn't have good raps on her, and we gonna talk about it. So I remember one night, I was calling her or whatever, and she was just not picking up. And it's weird because she, like, stays here type shit. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, she not picking up. So I'm really, like, aggravated or whatever. If you been there, you been there. You know how that shit goes. You be aggravated. You be ready to, you know what I'm saying, kill some shit. So she ends up picking up the phone. Tell me some hello. Hello? What the fuck? Where you at? She's like, I'm at 7-Eleven. I'm like, I'm coming right now. Boom. I hit the corner to the 7-Eleven. I see him and his cousin. My man's and his cousin. You know what I'm saying? His cousin don't stay around here, but he was around here. And I was like, all right. And the weird shit is, when I saw his cousin, me and his cousin had no animosity. Me and that nigga was always all right. You know what I'm saying? But when I seen the nigga started to square up with me. And I'm like, you good? What the fuck is going on? Like, Kyrie, what's going on? And then the nigga put his guards down when he saw that I wasn't on that energy, right? So I grab her because she right there and shit. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What'd I tell you? I take her off into the corner and start, you know what I'm saying? What are you doing? What'd I tell you? Whoop, 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 whoop. You know what I mean? All emotional, punching the wall and shit. And she's like, I just wanted to smoke or something stupid. Something that was just out of her character. Something that didn't make sense to me. But I'm emotional. So I'm getting mad. I'm just trying to get her to get back in the house and, you know what I'm saying, explain with herself and all this other shit, right? Long story short, come to find out she had fucked his cousin that night to get back at him for not caring that she was fucking with me. If that made any sense at all. You got what I'm saying? The craziest shit about the whole thing was, I really was like, you know what I'm saying, I really love Shorty. Like, I had a real, you know what I'm saying, thing for that girl. So it was like, damn, how you gonna do me like that, right? Like, I'm like hurt, right? So I'm like, man, fuck you, fuck this, fuck him. Hated that nigga. I hated that nigga until my man's died. At the funeral is when we patched up. I hated that nigga. I hated him. You feel me? But don't hate a nigga because your female chose. If you, let me tell you something, man. From an older nigga to a young nigga, if I could go back and say something to myself, man. If she, listen to me, whoever needs to hear this, if she's willing to let another man insert himself inside of her, she's not for you. Don't let that go over your head. Man, so that shit real hurt. After that, I said, fuck this. I'm gonna start getting my bag up. I start trapping, start doing a whole bunch of other shit, man. We gonna get into some more stories, but she had one job, yo. I don't know what made me think of this shit, but she had one job. All she had to do was not make a right at the light. And she could not help herself. She had to do it. Respect to him, though. Respect the shout outs to him and respect to his cousin. Because if his cousin wouldn't have did it, somebody else would have did it. And shit, I may not have known them niggas well enough to figure out the truth. And yeah, me and my man's patched that up too. You know, we had a heart to heart about it. I said, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit hurt me, bro. I loved her. He was like, I understand that, bro, but that wasn't even my call. What they had going on was what they had going on, bro. You should stay out of Kyrie's medicine cabinet, though. With that being said, man, it's been another great story time, man. We're gonna have some more next week. Maybe talk about some of these not I don't want to say criminal stories, but something a little more fun. You know what I mean? These joints be a little sad sometimes. You know, niggas going to bed sad, but I don't want to tell no sad story. I just want y'all to learn, like, you know what I'm saying, a little lesson from a shit. Cause you know what I mean? You may think like everything's good just cause you giving a bitch the world. Man, some bitches want the moon too. Don't let that go over your heads, man. Thanks for listening.